Settle down, kids. Settle down. Second half of the roundtable will focus on the actual draft. Here's how it works. All teams have submitted their protected lists. Released Kraken executives have been conducting mock after mock after mock after mock after mock after mock. Rumored to be in the hundreds, which is why I said mock a bunch of times. We'll just do one. Same rules. One player per team. They have to be above the cap floor, below the cap ceiling of $81.5 million. Trades can immediately follow the draft tomorrow. It's all live on Sportsnet. Let's start with Dangle and the leaked video of Kerfoot. Expected, or like the Kraken said on Twitter, no Kerfoot here. What are we doing?
Well, I'm taking Jared McCann. I don't want the Leafs to lose him. So if I'm the one doing the mock draft, I'm taking him. Now, Dubas is going to get lit up because optically it's a horrible move, but he's paying less in Philip Hollander in a seventh to lose a player who's not even his than the Seattle Kraken demanded, right? They wanted a first-round pick and a third. So I got a few players on my team with the express intent of flipping them. We know there's a market for Tarasenko because I think it was Frege reported it. Up front, I do have some young guys. Blackwell had like sort of a late bloomer season for the Rangers, Benson for the Oilers. I know a few analytics nerds are going to be upset about that. Misharin in Dallas as well. But I got some firepower too. Yanni Gord getting ready with a bigger role. Donskoy is consistent. Niederreiter, losing Nino Niederreiter for nothing is a tradition in the National Hockey League. And then he usually goes on to be very good. And Jordan Eberle, if you have a chance to get him and you don't take it, I think you're dumb. I love me some Jordan Eberle.
So on the defense, let me ask you this. Is Dylan DeMello going to be on everyone's, like, is he on both of your guys? And Bourne, would you have taken Dylan DeMello from Winnipeg?
Yeah, I like the DeMello pick. I think Julian maybe has Appleton, if I'm not mistaken. But
I have Appleton, yeah.
Appleton? All right. I thought that would be the one consensus was Dylan DeMello.
The thing is, Appleton's a great player. I totally get that. But yeah, DeMello, the value in that contract, that's pretty appealing. But the one at the top there, Giordano, I think that's consensus on every mock I've seen.
Yeah, it's just so easy. I mean, do you want him to be on your team? Do you want him to be your first captain? Do you want to flip him? There's really no reason not to take him at all.
So how do you see Ron Francis building this team based on what you put together?
If someone tells you who they are, believe them. I think that's what it is. And Ron Francis said he's a man who values cap space. That's why, like, I think my team might even have too high of a cap hit at 66, with some of the guys that I got. But there are so many opportunities for Francis to make a good team, but B, also have a really low cap hit. And you can see that I'm projecting the Seattle Kraken to be busy bees this summer because up front and on D, I have many RFAs, restricted free agents. I like that control, and it gives me some time.
I noticed that you only had 23 contracts and the rest were RFAs or UFAs, which is very interesting because that number is 20. Anything else that you see in Dangle's draft that you want to point out?
Just the goaltending situation interests me. I think on both of your lists where it's like Vanacek, Drieger, and what's the other, Kakkonen?
Kakkonen.
I wonder if you're comfortable going ahead with that, knowing all the goaltenders who are out there. Like if you're Ron Francis, if you say, all right, these are all appealing maybe guys. Could I trade one of these guys and sign Darcy Kemper or Freddie Anderson or have a more stable place in net that costs me $4 or $5 million a year, where you're comfortable with a guy for sure? I just think all three of those guys are good guys, but do you have some pause about them all kind of being unproven question marks?
I think personally, like, I figured at least one of those goalies, maybe Vanacek in this case, some other team might also want to flip for him as well. I had that thinking, at least with the way the goalies were kind of set between at least Vanacek, and I figured Kakkonen would at least be number two. And I understand that Drieger is kind of getting the money off of one good season, but I feel a little bit comfortable with him in net, especially with the team I have in front. I kind of went into it with the hope of just thinking, okay, which guys are going to make me the most competitive heading into this season? I think after what Vegas did with their expansion draft and the trades that they made, they've changed the expectations for expansion teams. No longer can you go into a league as a new team and be like, oh, well, we're just going to suck for the next few years and just hope for the best. I think you have to at least show some shred of being competitive. And that's why I leaped for guys like Vladimir Tarasenko and James Van Riemsdyk. I mean, Vladimir Tarasenko, there was a story that went out in The Athletic today by my colleague Jeremy Rutherford, just where he spoke to his team doctor. And I get it. It's a doctor who's trying to, help out. Well, maybe not help out Vladimir Tarasenko, but he could have easily said, like, his shoulder is a bum shoulder. But I'm inclined to believe that Vladimir Tarasenko, at full strength, one of the better goal scorers in the National Hockey League. And if the Seattle Kraken can get off to a cracking start with him, like that's pretty good. I could not pass up the opportunity to have Vladimir Tarasenko or James Van Riemsdyk, who I understand at his cap hit, he's not going to be a 30 or 40 goal scorer, but I think he'd still be someone you could depend on for offense. I realize I'm checking on my phone too, because I'm making sure I have the picks in front of me as well. I'm with Dangle here with Jordan Eberle. If he's available, you take him. I still don't know why the Islanders protected Matt Martin instead of Jordan Eberle. Yanni Gourde, there's a weird sentimental value with Yanni Gourde. He's a really good player. He's shown his value with the Lightning, obviously, over the last few years. But when I interned with the Syracuse Crunch, he was on that team and he did very well. That team went to the Calder Cup final. He was amazing. So I very much leapt at that chance to get Gourde. I understand, there's Andre Palat and Alex Killorn as well, but I really wanted Gourde and Kerfoot. The guy from the Leafs I'm taking is Alex Kerfoot. I think just to help out that center depth as well. He's there. And from the Canadians, actually, no Carey Price. I took Cale Fleury. I think he's one of the few RFA D-men RFA players that I have, but he's a young guy. He has some NHL mileage. Didn't really show it last year, but I think he's a guy worth taking a chance on if you're the Seattle Kraken, if you're trying to shore up your defense with some younger guys who could help you out more in the future.
The Yanni Gourde fan club seems pretty deep too.
Oh, yeah. No, I wish I was wearing his jersey right now. It's just being in the American League when he was there and playing against him every night and trying to game plan for certain players. I was like, that's the best player in the world. I know it's exaggerating and all that, but in that league, watching him play, I just couldn't even make sense of how much better he was than the players in the game. So I've been a longtime fan of his. Tampa Bay's options are ridiculous. Just the amount of talent you could take from that team. I've made the case today. I think Tampa's unprotected list could beat Buffalo's protected list, and that did not go over well on Sabres Twitter.
No, I guess it wouldn't. But it's interesting because therein lies the dilemma. Like, how good will Tampa be next year? And how much are they going to lose from that team? And I think everyone kind of knew that after the Stanley Cup final, which is why I love what Marc Bergevin did, which was, if you're going to make us play to this final and give us this little window to get ready for the expansion draft and the draft, then some of my guys might be hurt.
Oh, so badly. Everyone's so badly damaged. It's awesome. Yeah. I love it. I love what Bergevin's doing. It's also interesting to see who he knows in the media, just in the commentary on some of these guys. Gary Price is broken. He's never going to play again. And right. I have a feeling he's okay.
Yeah. To me, like, listen, it was all orchestrated. It was smart. It was well thought out.
Yes.
And if you're going to make us play that late, I'm okay with it. It's the same thing with the Tampa Bay Lightning putting players on LTIR and then having them magically reappear. Like, my dream, Julian, is that Shea Weber spends the entire year getting right. They get Tampa in the first round, and he comes off the LTIR and plays against Tampa. That's my dream for next season.
Yes, I get that the Canadians are playing this right, with the way that they're letting some of this news out. But Shea Weber and Carey Price are not spring chickens. No. They're up there in age. There's been some wear and tear on both of their bodies. While I understand that the news being out there, the timing is rather convenient, I'd like to think even before that was even a thing, if you're the Seattle Kraken, you're considering that. I mean, I'm not, again, I think I've said this like 5 times on the show. You could drink every time I've said it. I'm not a general manager. But if I was Ron Francis, surely you have someone on the staff who's looking into these files of these two players. Well, I don't know if you're considering Shea Weber, but at least with Carey Price, you're looking into that and you're trying to see if it's worth taking on that investment. That wear and tear on a 34-year-old goaltender is something you have to think about. If he was 24 years old, maybe a different story. But at 34, you absolutely have to think about it. And I get he has the pedigree. I get he's won all these different honors. And I've said it so many times. He gives the Montreal Canadiens their best chance to win every time he's healthy. But you have to think about it. You have to consider all options. And you have to consider the negative if you take Carey Price at a $10.5 million cap hit.
I think when we look ahead, we'll see Mark Giordano as the first captain of the Seattle Kraken. But it being Tuesday and less than a minute and a half left, does anyone have a hot take Tuesday that we might see this week that people need to keep an eye out on? I'll just lay it out.
I got one. Give me future captain of the Seattle Kraken, Gabe Landeskog, 8 times 8. Let's go.
8 times 8. Let's go. I'm in. Anyone else got hot take Tuesday?
Borny stole mine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was mine. I honestly think it could
not that
happen.
hot.
I'm a little surprised we haven't heard like a loud whisper about it, because you think we would have heard by now. Or where's the league video of that? Where's the league video of Landeskog walking around Seattle in flip-flops or something? Yeah, we didn't get it, but could happen.
Someone dropping a fish?
Wearing an expensive suit, doing it too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is going to be my new metaphor for leaking rumors, is throwing a fish, by the way. I'm just going to toss a fish out there.
You got one, Julian? We can let you off the hook. It's no problem. We got a few here.
Phil Deneau gets picked by the Canadiens and signs a deal, or maybe the Leafs find a way to get both McCann and Kerfoot.
Ooh, yes, please.
Very interesting. I think Deneau might be done. Listen, roundtable started not very good, but it ended well, so I appreciate Bourne, McKenzie, Dangle. Be well, guys, and we'll talk soon, maybe after the draft.